Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Alvin from Dr. Wealth, and today I'm going to talk about live streaming in China. And I'm not going to teach you how to do live streaming and make money out of it, but I'm more interested from an investor perspective. There are a handful of companies that are dealing with live streaming, and they are listed. So maybe as an investor, there may be some opportunities that we can capitalize on. The usual disclaimer: pause and read it if you need to. Okay, now we live in a very instant gratification world, and that is enabled or worsened by technology today. I just came across a report, I think it was by Microsoft, okay, and then it was saying that in 2000, right, the year 2000, our average human span was around 12 seconds. But now today it has lowered to 8 seconds. And I think that technology is one of the culprit that has lowered this attention span in all of us. And comparing to that of goldfish, okay, that's 9 seconds. So now goldfish have a longer attention span than humans, okay, and thanks to technology, that's probably one of the downside of it, all right. And coupled with a lot of other developments, faster internet speed, lower cost of access. Nowadays internet connection doesn't cost a bomb. Almost everybody can access it, and I think it is a leveler in this point of view, right? So technology is not all bad, okay, don't get me wrong. And better electronics as well. Now we have all our smartphones with all the nice screens, big screens, and all the rich colors and all the very fast touch that we can use the electronics without spending a lot of time waiting for things to load. And all these have enabled us to consume more multimedia, right? Media that used to be a lot more data intensive has now been made easily available and accessible, right? So all along, text is probably the least demanding, right? And reading has been a very main form of media, right? Whether is it newspaper, books, etc. Okay, then in the past probably will have less images and short videos on the internet compared to text. But nowadays with all these enablers, right, images and short videos are not a problem anymore. You can have a room full of people watching videos at the same time, and everybody get to enjoy it. Okay, you don't have to like sacrifice your bandwidth for somebody else, right? So the technology or the infrastructure has been very ready, right, to deliver all these kind of things. And today, of course, we're going to focus more on the short videos or streaming, to be specific. Okay, so now you can live video with a lot of people, right? You can send a video across to a lot of people and you can access it. Okay, so there's not much limit to that already. It's more of a marketing reach rather than a technological gap. And the streaming platforms in China are plenty, and they all have their different focus area, I would say. So you can group them into 4 different quadrants. One is entertainment, one is e-commerce, one is gaming, and one is short videos. All right. So I will not cover all the platforms that are listed over here. Right. So I will talk probably about under entertainment will be Bilibili and YY. Right. E-commerce will more be Taobao Live, and for gaming will be Huya, Douyu, and for short video will be Kuai, Shou, and Douyin in China. Right, so these will be the ones that I'll be talking about in the subsequent slides. And how do they make money? So let's start with the gaming platforms like Huya and Douyu. They mainly serve the gaming community. And nowadays, it's not just about playing games. Okay, you're watching other people play games, or people call it even the competitive ones are like this thing called esports. Okay, it's getting more and more popular, and there are individuals or professional sportsmen that play games full time, compete around the world, right? And they can make millions out of it. Right, so it's no longer the case where gaming has no future. In fact, gaming has a lot of future, and that spun off an ecosystem that includes game streaming like Huya and Douyu. Probably you have heard of Twitch in the West. So Huya and Douyu are more active in China. And how do they make money? And you can see the breakdown over here. Majority, the dark blue part, right, over 90%. Okay, whether is it Huya or Douyu. So Huya is on the left and Douyu is on the right. They make most of their money via live streaming or value-added services, which means when people watch, or the fans watch their favorite gamer play the games, they may buy virtual gifts, right? Virtual gifts. for the gamers, right? And that's how the gamers make money as well, right? Because if you play games for full-time as a full-time job, right, you need to make money somehow, and that's where your fans pay you to watch you play games, right? What an enviable job. I also want to have that, but I'm not a gamer. Too bad. Then the platforms will take commission or a part of it, right, as a platform fees. Okay, all of these virtual gifts. So most of the revenue comes from virtual gifts, right? And then they also have advertising, because after you amass a certain group of audience, there'll be enough eyeballs for you to sell advertisement space, right? So that's a small portion for Huya and Douyu. Mainly is from all these virtual gifts fees that they collected. And for Bilibili, it's more diverse, right? You can see that the big core part of their revenue comes from mobile games, right? So they sell the mobile games via the platform. And live broadcasting and the value-added service, this is similar to the gifts that we talked about just now for Huya and Douyu, but it's not the majority for Bilibili, right? Bilibili has a slant more on anime, right? More on anime. They allow users to create all these kind of animes and publish, like YouTube, right? You share is user generated content with an anime focus, right? So that's how they get their own fans in that space. Okay, and advertising, right? Same. If they amass a group of audience, they will be able to sell advertisement space, and they also allow e-commerce product placement. So maybe there are some people who want to use this platform to sell or to link to their product pages in the e-commerce platforms, and that's how they get commissions as well, right? So you can see Bilibili is more diverse in terms of their revenue breakdown, right? Their revenue model is more spreaded over different sectors. And then for Kuai, Shou, and Douyin, these are your short videos, right? Okay, within seconds, okay, you finish a video, and they are the top two players in China, right? I think both of them have more than like 90% share on the short video in China, and mainly they make money from advertising as well as some e-commerce commissions when they get the key opinion leaders to sell some of these products on their platform via streaming, and then lead on to product purchases on e-commerce platforms. So they do that, get some of these commissions as well. And Taobao also have their live streaming, right? Call it Taobao Live. And Taobao doesn't make money from all these product fees or what. They charge the fees from sellers. When these sellers want to advertise on this platform, that on Taobao itself, right? That's where they pay the fees to Taobao. Okay, so as long as they create a more vibrant number one go-to platform for e-commerce, right, then likely all the sellers will also want to rush there and don't mind paying top dollars to get the airtime and get the attention from the buyers, right? So that's the revenue model for all these different kind of streaming. You can see they are different. Okay, more or less they are, whether is it advertising, whether is it gifts, whether is it commission, they are similar, but where do they make most of the money, right? You can spot the differences. Okay, I won't say that one is better than the other, right? But these are the different ways. Okay, the business model just evolved from there. Some statistics for all these platforms, and just take note, right? The year or the date of the period of the financial stats is different. Okay, because I was just trying to figure out how to get all these figures, and for the listed companies it's easy because they need public disclosure, but the private ones are the tricky ones. There isn't any readily available stats, so I could only fish out whatever I can get, and that's why the period of comparison is a bit different. So just take note of that. Okay, Huya and Douyu, right, their revenue is about the same. It's about 2 billion. Okay, 2+ billion. The monthly average user, MAU stands for monthly average user, is about 100 over million, less than 200 million each, right? For all you know, there may be a lot of overlap too, okay, because they are very, very similar, mainly serving the gamers. Both are listed in the US by the ticker Huya and DOUYU, right? And for Bilibili, it's also listed under BILI. Revenue is higher, right? Probably because they're more diverse, they got from more segments, okay? And that helped them maximize the audience crowd that they have amassed. And the monthly average user also about 200 million, right? Slightly less than that. And this is Joy or YY. Okay, revenue is a lot higher, 6 billion, but recently they got a short seller attack from Muddy Waters, right? Saying that their accounts are not clean, all right? And so we don't know, okay, who is right at the end of the day. Monthly average user reported was higher, 390 million, right? Almost double that of Bilibili, right? Listed as YY in the US as well. And these four are the listed ones. Okay, and then the next three that I'm going to talk about are not listed. They're still privately owned. Douyin is the China version of TikTok. Okay, and they didn't report any revenue yet. But based on the parent company is ByteDance. But ByteDance have more than just Douyin. ByteDance have TikTok. ByteDance also have another one called Toutiao, which is a news app. Okay, which is also very popular in China. And then their target was around 194 billion yuan in 2020. Okay, so we don't know what is the final number last year unless they want to disclose it. Monthly average user is a lot higher at 700 million. That is like more than half of about half of China's population. Okay, so that's a very huge number that we're talking about. Then the competitor is Kuai, didn't report as well, but it's going for IPO soon. Right, so we should be able to see more disclosure on their numbers. Numbers are pretty healthy, right? In first half is 25 billion yuan. Okay, so you can see their numbers, right? Totally trash what you see in Huya, Bilibili, Douyu, or YY, right? So the short videos, they are really wildly popular, and I'm referring to Douyin and Kuai, and they mainly sell through advertising, right? Because you get that kind of huge audience, right? Then you can really charge advertisers to reach out to audiences, just like what Facebook is doing, right? Or have been doing. And Kuai, MAU, monthly average user, is actually higher than even Douyin, right? But because Kuai started way before Douyin came later. But what is amazing is that Douyin managed to catch up. And I do believe that it's just a matter of time Douyin would surpass Kuai in terms of the monthly average user, right? Because the adoption rate and the growth rate is a lot higher. And it's not just in China, but the TikTok is also wildly popular in India, as well as in the US, right? And lastly, this is Taobao live stream, right? Taobao 直播. They didn't disclose any monthly average user. What I can get for FY 2020 reported was about $350 billion gross merchandise value. Okay, that's not the revenue earned by Taobao, but that is the amount of worth of goods sold on this Taobao Live. Right, so you can see the numbers is also very staggering. Okay, and that's lead me to, right, I want to focus on more on the right side rather than the left side. Okay, I think the market on the left, the Huya, Douyu, Bilibili, and Joy, they are on more of a niche market, whereas your Douyin, Kuai, and Taobao Live are really true blue, huge powerful platforms that we are talking about when it comes to streaming. All right. Okay, just a bit more information on who the backers are, because we know that today there are a lot of in China, Tencent invests in a lot of companies, likewise for Alibaba. We just want to really figure out what's the ownership structure like, or the backers of all these streaming platforms. So gaming, of course, you will straight away think of Tencent. It's totally relevant to them, since Tencent is the biggest gaming company in the world by revenue, right? And the talks are that Huya and Douyu is going to merge. Okay, they're going to do a M&A, and after the merger, Tencent will own 51% of the new merged company. And I do think that this is a right move, right? Because Tencent would definitely want to control the ecosystem beyond just game publishing, the distribution, as well as the community building around streaming, esports events, organizing. So it's all part of the gaming ecosystem. I do think that this would be valuable to Tencent itself. So that's naturally a high percentage ownership is justifiable in my view. They also have a 18% with Bilibili, okay? And Alibaba also have a 11% in Bilibili, right? It is rare that they co-invest in the same company. Usually they invest in different companies, right? Because they are not the best of friends, Tencent and Alibaba. Tencent also have a 22% stake in Kuai, right? I do think that this Douyin, right, is a threat, okay? It's a threat to Tencent's dominance, right? Because Tencent has been a very strong social media in China with the WeChat ecosystem. and then Douyin came about, right? It draws a lot of people onto that platform, right? And the investment in Kuai is a counter to what Douyin is doing, right? So that is a move that Tencent have taken, and Kuai is going for IPO pretty soon, probably in a few months' time. We should be able to see their financial numbers. And Alibaba, of course, fully own the Taobao Life, right, as part of the Taobao subsidiary. And then Baidu is going has announced that they are going to acquire YY, right? And then after acquisition, they will fully own this. So Baidu is also a little bit behind. Sorry, it's not a little bit. It's quite behind Tencent and Alibaba and the entire tech or platform ecosystem in China, right? Their search engine has not really beyond the search engine, we have not really seen very good development from Baidu. And I think this investment in Joy, this acquisition in Joy, is just to keep up with the competition. But I think it's tough, right? I do think that in terms of the true platforms, your Kuaishou, Douyin, and your Taobao Life, right? Not so much of Joy, okay? But at least they are giving the other competitors a run of their money for a while, right? This is a 1 year stock performance of all the listed streaming companies in China, right? I put it over here, and you can see that Bilibili did the best, okay, with 400% increase from 1 year ago, right? While your Joy and your Douyu is about 20% gain, and while Huya is actually down 1% from a year ago, right? What caused the disparity in the performance? Bilibili, why did they shoot off from the rest? Okay, the thing is, right, we will never know what's the real reason. Okay, we can only guess and speculate. All right, I do think that the probably the merger, okay, of Douyu and Huya may have a little bit of impact to their share price, at least in the last few months, right? And then for YY, it might be the short selling report by Muddy Waters, okay, and you can see the share price start to go down since like maybe September last year. All right, and whereas for Bilibili, I think the growth rate looks good, as well as their revenue segment is more diverse. Okay, it's not just really focused. You want to talk about gaming, they have gaming. You want to talk about e-commerce, they have e-commerce, right? And you want to talk about selling games online, they also have it. Okay, so I think that may be more palatable to investor. Maybe the total addressable market looks a bit more larger than, let's say, Douyu and Joy. All right. But I still think that the Bilibili still pale in comparison if we want to bring in Kuaishou as well as Douyin. So now we move on to that two short video app, right? Douyin and Kuaishou. Okay, so in terms of the audience demographics, is a little bit different. Douyin is you can say they focus more, or they have more audience from the tier 1. Okay, this is one first difference, and you can see Kuaishou has small percentage of tier 1 audience, right? Also, just in case you don't know, right, China has many tiers of cities, right? Tier 1, 2, 3, 4, and even 5 and below. All right. So tier 1 are the richest, okay, richest cities, and then so on and so forth, right? But of course, it's not just the wealth in the city that determines the tier. The political how to say, the governance, right, as well as the population size will determine the city tiers. Okay, but generally the higher the tier, the richer the people are. So Douyin has a larger proportion of richer audience. All right, whereas Kuaishou, you can see tier 4 and below, right, it's a majority. Okay, it's a very big majority, right, compared to say Douyin. So you can just take it as they are both in short videos, but Douyin are serving the people, the more affluent people, whereas Kuaishou is more of the suburbs, the tier 4 and below cities. And this is some comparison, right? The Venn diagram probably will make it better, right? So you can see Douyin first tier city, Kuaishou second or even fourth and below. Douyin has more female, right? Kuaishou has more male, okay? One is more rural, one is more urban. We mentioned about that. One is more social media, social driven kind of content, whereas for Douyin, it uses a lot of artificial intelligence to drive to select the content to show it to you, right? So even on that, it's different. So I think the Kuaishou IPO will look interesting, but myself would be more interested if the parent company of Douyin, ByteDance, go IPO, which I think eventually they would. Then they will really be able to compete, because ByteDance can really compete at the level of Tencent and Alibaba in time to come. Right, that's what I see the potential in them. One why I'm so bullish, I think one of the things that Alibaba and Tencent are not able to do yet, right, is that ByteDance is able to produce, or has been able to produce, an internationally used app. That's TikTok. Okay, managed to capture international market. India, super huge market, as well as US. This is the first time a China-made social media app is adopted by the West. Okay, never happened before. WeChat is not, right? WeChat is only mainly used by the Chinese, right? Mainly in PRC even. But TikTok, the international version of Douyin, was able to move to the West and move into a big population like India, and very popular over there. So I do think that ByteDance actually have much a bigger runway compared to Kuaishou, right? Or Douyin or TikTok has much better, longer runway than Kuaishou, right? If we really talk about the long term, okay. And let's talk about e-commerce now, right? And e-commerce live streaming, Taobao Live is the champion. Okay, as of 2019, Taobao Live has 79% market share, right? That totally decimate its competitors. And I think that this is one of the reasons why I'm still in favor of Alibaba compared to, say, other e-commerce players like JD or even Pinduoduo, right? Because I do think that this live streaming makes a very big difference to really encouraging people to buy products more than they should, okay, or more than they would. Whether it's a good thing or not, I mean, if as a shareholder of Alibaba, I like that lah, okay. But I mean, for individual, it may not, because if they overspend on things that they don't need, then that's not good news, right? But e-commerce live streaming has that ability. I don't know how many of you actually watch, those kind of late night infomercial where you watch other people sell products on TV, okay, or even you go to a market and then you have a live sales on a salesman, right, really pushing a product, and it's very, very effective, right, when you have somebody selling it. And now this is even more powerful with this e-commerce live streaming, because you don't just get to watch what everybody is watching. You can follow your favorite key opinion leaders, your influencer, your favorite product, your favorite brand, and you can get discounts from there, right? So it's very, very addictive, and you can really massively sell a lot of things at the same time, different things to different people at the same time, right? So I do think that this live streaming for e-commerce is very, very effective, right? And you can reach a scale. Okay, so Douyin has 13% and Kuaishou 8%. So they partner with JD to help them do this live streaming, all right. But whereas Taobao Live is integrative with the Taobao app itself, right? So I do think that user experience will be a lot better. Okay. So live streaming e-commerce growth have been tremendous. The sales on live stream are expected to grow at more than 100% in 2020 compared to 2019, right? The actual result has not been out, but it's expected to grow like this, and almost 9% of the all online retail sales. So this is a very strong growth area, and with Taobao Live capturing that kind of market share, right, you can be sure that Alibaba should do very well in terms of all these retail sales, all right, online sales. And in 2019, about 37% of China's online shoppers have live stream purchases. Okay, so this number is already very huge, but it's still going to increase from here. So that's a lot of money we're talking about, right? And it's sticky. Okay, once they like these live stream purchases, it's very likely that next year they would use live stream to buy things again, right? And this number will go up rather than go down. And that talks about this rise of key opinion leaders, right? KOL, key opinion leaders, or some people call them the influencers, right? So on this picture, this guy is the lipstick king, okay? So he can sell like 15,000 lipsticks in 15 minutes. I really don't understand why would a guy sell a lipstick, okay? But maybe because it is so intriguing, a guy is selling lipstick instead of a lady, that really draws the crowd in, Okay, but I'm not sure about that. Okay, I'm not gonna put a lipstick here on this show. And the top KOLs, right? I'm talking more for Taobao Live, huh? So the top KOLs actually have their own shows. Okay, usually this period 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. right in the evening. They'll push about 12 products per hour, so about 48 products per day, per night, and the brands will have to compete for airtime. So the brands will pitch to all these KOLs, and the KOL will select which one they like, what kind of products they want to showcase, right? So the stats is that, not that you want to pay them, they will advertise for you, right? So the stats is about 1 in 10 get selected by the KOL. And why is it good, right? Is because all these KOL or this live streaming, right, they bring about all this curation. Okay, that means there's one layer where of checks. Okay, instead of you go and do your research, these KOLs or this influencer get to try this product and they filter it for you, right? So if you trust them, you trust their taste, then you don't need to do the work them yourself, right? So we are talking about the convenience again, remember, right? Technology have allowed us to really shorten our consumption time, right? You just listen to him, maybe he just pitch to you 10 minutes, you'll be able to make a decision, all right? Rather than go and research hours or even days or even weeks. So you give reviews, what is good, what is bad, you listen for yourself, and then they also entice you with discounts. And of course, don't forget the salesmanship or plus entertainment, right? They entertain you, you feel good, and then you make the purchase. So overall user experience will be very, very fantastic. Okay, so if you have not tried anything, just go and try live streaming e-commerce. Let's see whether you buy anything from it. Okay, in summary, I do think that live streaming is a very important development, right? And China is ahead of everybody in this area. Okay, live streaming is an enabler for many industries and it is growing rapidly, especially the direct to consumers part. Okay, direct to consumer, sell direct to consumer, for brands who decided to use live streaming or even consumer to consumer like Taobao is a C2C. Okay, it's very, very useful. Game streaming like your Douyu and Huya, I would think that it's actually better for Tencent as well as the gamers, okay, rather than the shareholders directly, right? Because there's spillover effect from all this streaming website. It actually helps bigger companies, gaming companies like Tencent, to withhold a much stronger market position as compared to the competitors, right? So I myself would not be looking at them, right? I'm not so interested in Douyu and Huya. I may be wrong because I'm not a gamer myself, so I find it harder to appreciate it. But you may be different, okay? You may have different insights on this. And short video streaming, which would be your Kuai Shou as well as Douyin, I do see a lot of potential, right, to challenge the incumbents kings in social media, and that's what I'm talking about, your Facebook as well as your Tencent. Okay, they will give them a run of their money. All right, I do think that they're getting things right because the growth rate, the adoption rate is so high, right, and it's very addictive as well, right? So that may be the new form of social media that most people will consume in the future, and that will pose a threat for the incumbents like Tencent and Facebook. And lastly, I'm probably the most bullish on live streaming with e-commerce, right? You have salesmen doing all this selling for you online, right? Rather than people passively or serve for things to buy, right? Now suddenly you add in the entertainment, you add in that salesmanship, you will definitely push more sales than if you just let people buy what they want to buy on their own, right? And Alibaba is leading in this through Taobao Live. Almost 80% market share in China in terms of e-commerce live streaming, right? And in fact, Amazon is trying to copy this, right? They're trying to introduce videos into their sales, right? So it must be, something that they saw success in their Eastern counterpart, right? That they want to introduce it. So China is ahead in live streaming, especially in e-commerce, compared to the West, right? So I hope now you have a better understanding what is live streaming, the different kind of live streaming platforms, and the growth prospect, and China as a leader in this area, right? Would be seeing more developments from here. So I hope that you get some insights from this video. Give us a thumbs up if you like it. Leave a comment below, right? Let us know what you think about live streaming in China, right? Any opportunities for you. Okay, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.